I don't know. I don't know any other way to say this, so I will just say it. I am dying, but so too are you. Hopefully, it's not imminent. And I know that's a bit tough to swallow to start, but I needed your attention because there is a massive truth to that fact, albeit none of us go as quick as it seems. Rather, it's obligatorily slow and painful. At least if you find yourself how I found myself a few years ago, and I decided to not die a horrible death. Now, let's just imagine for a moment that if you are seeking change, because that's what I want to promote today, a mindset of change, a mindset of prosperity, a mindset of abundance and love, that's what I want to do. Let's presume that you don't find yourself in that space and you are definitely and eagerly looking for some inspiration or a message or a moment, something to move you forward in that direction. Now that you know you're dying, imagine if it truly was imminent and you're on your way to the doctor because something is growing on your arm. I don't want to make it any more dramatic than that. And this something that's growing doesn't look good, doesn't feel good. And you go to Dr. Google and it tells you should head to your doctor immediately. This is not a good sign. You get to your doctor, you sit in front of your doctor, and he or she is like, listen, what you have growing on your arm is going to kill you unless you cut it off. And not just what's growing, your whole arm got to go. You wouldn't hesitate. You say, Doc, can we go right now? I know I would. Prep the OR, get me some anesthesia, let me make a few phone calls, cut it off. Let's go, because I want to keep living. So now flip that and invert that, because this is really what this comes down to. That inside of you, where you are seeking and begging for something to flourish and emanate and become, is blocked. And this blockage comes from years and years and years of a level of obscurity, a level of pain, a level of unfortunateness, a level of unpleasantness. And a lot of it had nothing to do with you, and a lot of it has everything to do with you. Let's just agree to that. And now if we can agree to that and get emotionally rational and mature about it, what is it that's likely blocking you? And it is everything about your current life. Everything about the life that you are living right now, if you are truly seeking to change, is one big growth, one big blockage, and it's encapsulating you inside out. It is restricting you, blocking you, burying you almost alive. And you can't see a way out. How could you? So what do you do, and what could I possibly offer? As unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, like your arm, you can't just cut it off and let it go. But the same process still must apply. The life you're living today must be fully cut off, fully eradicated, fully dispersed, dismembered, embodied. It gotta go. And this is difficult, and you won't want to do it, but here's why you have to do it. You are a product of everything that has occurred in your life, and it'll continue to occur so long as you continue to be a product of everything that has occurred in your life. For example, the way I grew up, in the projects, in the hood, in welfare, poverty-driven, all of those things that apply, the deepest, darkest, and baddest. Of course, it feels that way to me because I lived it. If I choose, or if I had chosen to continue to stay in that life, nothing would have changed for me. Seems rather obvious, yet not all of us seem to be able to do it. Why? Because it requires cutting everything off. In order to change, in order to truly change, and to ensure that you don't just change and make a slight pivot and make some small gains, but to go through a full 180, everything has to change. And until you're willing to change everything, nothing will change. Because like the growth on your arm, it'll just spread, or it'll pop up in different areas, and it'll come back for you. And every time it comes back for you, it'll come back more violently, Why? Because every time you attempt to make a change and you don't succeed, it further exacerbates the poverty mindset that is already ingrained in you. And that's the biggest thing. The product of being a product of what you're already a product of is that it is always trying to draw you back in. It is always trying to pull you back in, and it always offers you this ironic sense of comfort that you could just fall back, fall in, and everything will remain, and it's better than it not being what you thought it could be because of the difficulty in what it means to being what you thought it could be. Here's the message you need to hear, and I promise you, I'll share with you what I had to do. If we can agree again that everything about where you are will always be a draw and everything got to go, this means your environment needs to change. What is your environment? Your family environment. Got to cut them off. I know it sounds terrible. Got to do it. Your friendships. Got to cut them off. I know it sounds terrible. Got to do it. Even the people closest to you. I had to approach my wife and my children. Listen, things need to change. I'm going to make this pivot. I'm going to do a 180. I'm going to do an about face. It's going to be a little pain. It might be selfish sometimes. It might be difficult. We might fight. We might go through some friction, but it's for the better. I need you to roll with me. And those are easier conversations because the people that truly love you will accept you for your 180. Everything else outside of it is never going to understand it. They're never going to be fully aligned with you. Why? Because they're experiencing the same thing you were trying to no longer experience. In order for all of your experiences to change, everything about what you're experiencing today has to change. And no, it won't happen tomorrow, but it can happen as immediate as right now if you decide to cut it all off. So specifically, where are you at today in every aspect of your current reality that is impacting mind, body, and spirit? What is causing you blockage? What is causing you friction? You have to be able to self-assess and self-analyze and have a foundation of, this is where I'm at. This is no longer where I want to be. And the first step into being able to see what you got to do is to cut off everything and remove the blockage. If you continue to let it grow and you continue to let it expand, it'll only continue to block your view. So the easiest thing is everything gets cut off. Go as dark as you can go. From everything. Have the conversation with yourself. Have the conversation with the loved ones. And then after that, really, ghost everything. Just ghost it. Just ghost it. I promise you, you won't be missed. And in the same way, you won't miss them. You gotta cut it off. This is the message you needed. This is the moment you needed. Don't let it just be motivational and inspirational for whatever the length of this video is. Take it with you. Never come back here again. Never go back to where you were. Change your mind, change your life. I am who I say I am. Do you and stay rich.